Sophie from Northwestern University. I'm presenting our work today. It's about promotional work and the adoption of innovative scientific ideas, including the biomedical grants. So it's a collaboration with my colleague Hao and Nicole and Henry Force at Novo Nordisk, who provided us the majority of the data. Teresa working in medical science at MSU, and my boss Brian Woodsey. So communication matters for scientific innovation. Innovation usually has two steps. One is the generation of idea, and then you need to communicate your idea. So we know much about ideation, such as teams, funding, culture, mentorship, but we know little about communication, how scientists communicate the merits of their ideas. It's a very complex problem, and it was rarely researched and rarely taught at college. So there is some research showing that semantics matter, and we have one example. Here, both teams, they discovered this method CRISPR simultaneously and independently. But then the team on the left-hand side, they sent their paper to PNAS, but they waited for a long time before they got accepted, and then they even got rejected before they eventually got accepted. But then the team on the right-hand side, led by the two women, they sent to Science, and they got very quick acceptance. So we analyzed their text, and one of the things we found that differs is those two women, they use more promotional words, and that's the core of my talk today, my presentation today. So here's the study overview. The research puzzle is how do scientists communicate the merits of their ideas, and we focus on grants because grants are just so important. It's very important for faculty members, especially young faculty members, to get their tenure, for example, and also it's the foundation of a science innovation. It really fuels the whole process. So a recent study by Miller and his colleague published at a medical journal reviewed about 1 million funded NIH grants, and they found a rocket race of the promotional language in the past 3.5 decades. And they validated a lexicon of promotional words, such as unique, key, imperative, advanced, etc. There are 139 of them. So our research question is, does promotional language predict funding, inherent novelty, and the citation impact? In our data set, we have about 15,000 funded and unfunded grants. So that's very rare in prior studies, to be able to compare the funded and the unsuccessful ones. And the findings, some of the key highlights include promotional language predicts funding, innovativeness, and citation impact. We also delve deeper into the mechanisms, and we will show you a network of the variables that contribute to using the promotional words. So we found that promotional words convey originality, significance, and engaged memory. So it has influence on people's connection, and then in turn affects the funding success. I'll briefly talk about the data and methods here. Due to the time constraint, if you want to know more details, you can scan the QR code to read our recently published PNAS paper. So as I mentioned before, we have funded and unfunded grants. The year spans 3 decades, and the budget is at the billions level. In addition to the complete text from the grants, we also have some other meta information such as the PI's features, such as age, gender, their prior publication history, citation counts, etc., and the year they submitted the grant, the grant program area, etc. So the method, the dependent variable includes funded or not innovativeness of ideas borrowed from Professor Woodsey. I will talk briefly about that later, and the citation impact, that's by the average of journal impact factor and the highest journal impact factor. The independent variable includes the percentage of promotional words in a grant application, and 13 control variables. Again, for details, you can read our paper. We did modeling, including fixed effect regressions and computer experience. Again, for details, read our paper. So finding one, does promotional language predict grant funding? So here's a comic. Someone approaches a grant, like an agency saying, "Hi, Miss Grant Giver, can I please have a research grant?" And the grant giver says, "What's your research proposal?" And that guy says, "Well, it's a basic science," and that guy lost a chance because we found that using promotional words is associated with higher chance of getting your grants accepted, being funded. So here in this graph, we're showing the one from the Novo Nordisk Foundation grants, and the majority of their grants are given to medical studies. So here we can see that the base rate of acceptance is about 17%, and the median of the percentage of promotional words is 1%, and it's below the success rate, below the base rate. And towards the right end of our graph, it's about 2% of the promotional words in the grant. So there's a 17% lift in probability of being funded over the base rate. And we found something similar in NIH grants as well. So finding number 2, does promotional language predict a grant's innovativeness? Is it possible that any scientific idea to the scientist is like an ugly child to their mother? Like no matter how ugly they are, the mom will say, "Oh, you're the most beautiful child." No, that's not the case, because we found that there is a positive relationship between the use of promotional words and the innovativeness of their later publications. And the innovativeness, we borrow that from Brian Woods' paper. We are determining if a grant's bibliography has past knowledge combined in novel ways more than expected by chance. And here's the margin plot to show that the correlation is positive and significant. So finding 3, does promotional language predict citation impact? So we did regression on the percentage of promotional words on average citation impact and the max citation impact, and they're both positive and significant, but not so for the productivity. So next, the mechanism. We did a structural equation model predicting the use of promotional words. So the final outcome variable is the percentage of promotional words. We saw that the PI gender matters. So women use fewer promotional words in their grants. So note that the coefficient is negative. And also requested funding amount. The more money you request, the more likely you'll put more promotional words into it. So remember that higher percentage of promotional word is associated with higher chance of being funded. So women are here in disadvantage. And there are some other variables that contribute to the later variables. So like PI's prior number of funding success, and there are citations. The higher of them, the more money they are likely to ask for, and therefore maybe they'll put more promotional words in their grants. Okay, and possible cognitive mechanism. So we did a computer simulation for this. The expectation is that the promotional words evoke more cognitive attention than their neutral synonyms taken from the Oxford Dictionary. So we did that on all 3 data sets, NNF, NSF, and NIH. So NIH is mostly biomedical grants. So the experiment can be described in the following way. So we randomly replace promotional words in each grant with one of their neutral synonyms taken from Oxford Dictionary in 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% intervals. And then for each grant, we repeat 100 times because each time there's randomness and we want to smooth that out. And then we compare the proposal level cognitive activation score before and after replacement. To do that, we use the Cyber that's fine-tuned to grants to measure the sentiment score, and we use that sentiment score as the activation score. So for example, here the original sentence might be further a unique and key aspect of the program, and the replacement would be further a specific and central aspect, so it's less promotional. but we keep the meaning. So we found that the more promotional words you replace out, so the more neutral words you put in, the more grants have dropped sentiments. So it means like the promotional words are resulting in a higher sentiment score, therefore like a stronger cognitive attention, therefore changing, maybe affecting the granting decision. So those are the works that we've finished and published. You can scan the QR code, I will present that later. And we are also working on future works in related data sets. Some other related data sets include patents. So those are also innovation, but later in the pipeline. And we also found a positive and a significant relationship between the use of promotional words and getting approved. Also, we are also working on papers. We have data set from a major medical journal and also papers from a top-tier computer science conference. We also found something similar, so it's pretty universal. So in conclusion, here again there's a QR code you can scan. So we compare funded and unfunded grants and found, among some other findings, we found promotional language predicts grant funding, and it also predicts grants innovativeness. And also we delved a little bit into the mechanism of what use keywords. Okay, and there's a guess you can try out how many promotional words that are used in this presentation. Thank you, and I will take questions.
Thank you for the presentation, amazing work, quite interesting. I have two questions. One is, I'm quite surprised that the ones using a lot of promotional words, they do not seem, it seems that it's always increasing, right? I would expect that oversetting your research proposal would be a little bit detrimental. So did you dig a little bit in this heterogeneity, looking at the ones that are talking the top of this distribution of the use of promotional words? And second thing, super quick, is just also, you're seeing that in the other words, it seems to be quite general in terms of field, but wouldn't be the case that this also is related maybe with the group and the teamwork and the kind of configurations that you have in these different fields that you're looking, maybe this could explain part of it.
Yeah, so for the first question, maybe you were expecting something like a U-shape or something. Yeah, we were thinking about that too, but then yeah, we did look at like the end of the distribution. There were some outliers, so we tried the regression with and without those outliers. And even with outliers, it's yeah, going up, but there are like very few of them, like past like 2% or something in the grant. So it's not really like overwhelmingly a lot of promotional words in each grant. And you might think 1% is not that many, but it's actually like maybe 1 out of 4 sentences you might have 1 promotional words. So there are some, but it's not like all of the words are promotional words. So maybe not to the extent to upsetting. Yeah, so for the like generalization in other fields, we so what do you mean by like the setting of like teams or?
Did you check if in this different kind of context, if it's about the PIs and the collaborators, if there's something related to these different fields, they have more or less the same kind of group collaboration in terms of gender or like experience, and then this could explain why they're all the same, because I'm quite surprised.
We controlled all those things about PI, like team size, gender of the PI, prior publication, prior like citation and everything, and that still holds after all those controls.
One more question? Yeah. So all the promotional words are adjectives, I believe, which means that they're accompanied by a noun. So I'm wondering if there's a simpler explanation that can link the use of promotional words to just I know about more stuff. I can mention more specific things in my proposal, and that hints that my research proposal is more developed. And promotional words are sort of a proxy
also control for like the concreteness of your writing and how easy it is to read. But we didn't control for the nouns. We actually look at the nouns that those adjectives used on. Yes, so there are some false positives, and even eliminating those false positives, they're still like pretty strong. But yeah, I would definitely try your suggestion on like counting nouns and see if it's just like more specific as a proxy for a specific.
Great. Let's thank our speaker again.